Hey everyone, Kevin here, and welcome back to my channel. So, as I continue navigating the current job market, I often find that most companies, including really mature ones, don't actually have dedicated L&D teams. Something that both surprises me and doesn't surprise me at the same time. And there are a number of reasons for this, but I think before I get into that minutiae, I need to help people understand what instructional designers and learning and development teams do in the first place because I feel like there's this disconnect between what they think we do versus what we actually do. And a lot of people seem to believe that all we do is make compliance courses like safety training, and that we don't add much value to a company, which is why we are often among the first to be axed during any major layoff, as I mentioned in another video recently. However, that is such a small component of what we actually do. What learning and development professionals more focus on is the professional growth and skill development of all employees, from the lowest person all the way up to the CEO in some instances. We focus on training, yes, but more specifically on filling learning gaps, evaluating problems, and creating learning opportunities that help employees actually improve on the job. We also made onboarding and new hire programs, career development courses, change management trainings, leadership development programs, provide skill training, and other courses that go beyond that boring hour and a half long traditional compliance stuff that we often get stereotyped with. Plus, formal training may not even be the vehicle by which to accomplish any of these things. Sometimes we just use job aids or something like that to quickly give out little bite sized information to employees instead. The belief that all we create is these long winded and monotonous trainings is the problem, though. It's causing companies to not only neglect having an L&D team in the first place, but also lay them off whenever they have financial problems, which is ironically the last thing they should be doing in such a situation. I finally had an interview for the first time in a couple months just the other day, and when it came time for me to ask my own questions of the interviewers, they told me that they only recently started having a dedicated L&D team with instructional designers, and they work for a company that's been in existence for over 160 years. As I said earlier, this problem plagues even the most mature of companies that have been around for a very long time. Not just startups like one might think, because they're often the ones short on money to hire IDs in the first place. This is also why you'll find that we're often lumped underneath the human resources department, because I think we serve a quote people function rather than the more strategic organizational one that we actually do. We're there to improve the company's mission statement, values, and goals in order to push the company forward, not just manage how employees interact with one another. That's why issues like motivation and so forth that HR generally deal with in underperforming employees rarely, if ever, falls under our purview. This disconnect hurts companies and causes them to not take L&D teams all that seriously until we're given chances to prove our value. In that interview I mentioned earlier, they said that they've had to complete training requests that they normally would reject as not really training issues because they're trying to build that rapport with stakeholders, SMEs, and the company at large as a new team. And though it's been successful for them and has given them the ability to say no more often now, along with making the argument that they need at least a month of time to create a training that they were tasked 2 days with, it shouldn't have to be this way. This is because traditionally, companies looked at training as something that they had to do and could just contract it out to some random company that would make those incredibly one size fits all trainings, which they often did get within a day or two since they were pre-packaged already. It led to trainings only being made in house when they saw an actual need to do so, and created this warped version of what good training looks like. The understanding of not only the value of L&D teams, but of what we can do given the bandwidth is becoming more common now, especially as more and more teachers flock into ID as they leave the classroom. And when grounded in andragogical principles, sound learning theory, and tools that can make the courses more interactive and applicable to a company's learners, more people will come to us with ideas that they want to see come alive, rather than just throwing together a PowerPoint for a new onboarding class. Now, this doesn't mean that many companies won't still only keep a small team of maybe 5 or 6 people rather than the massive L&D teams that have like 50 IDs on staff, but that more companies are starting to retain dedicated ones. It does mean that with layoffs rampant and a saturated field, that there aren't enough jobs to meet demand, which is true, but that there is more opportunity for our industry as a whole if the economy turns around. So keep that in mind. But that's all for now. Thanks for listening, and please don't forget to click like and subscribe to see more of my content. Until then, I will see you in the next video.